Sales will take anyone. It's where you go when you failed at everything else. This is the place. It's the catch net. It's the welfare system, I guess, of the employment market. UK's most hated. So I deliberately look like a moron. I know this. When I stand up in front of a room of people to do training, I go, let's get the first thing out of the way. I look like an idiot. I know that. Stupid hat, braces, the hair. You know, I look like an idiot. But do you know why I do this? Does anyone know why? It's incredibly disarming. We're so programmed to salespeople that everyone you get in front of should buy, convince them to buy. That's why we're so derided and hated as sleazy, slimy, cheesy, greedy, selfish, insincere, all of these words that people use to describe salespeople, because they are. CEOs and MDs, when they meet me, they get it. They suddenly, fuck, this is good. Yeah. Sales directors, middle management hate it. And I explain things to them about sales that they've never heard before. And I remember this once in a meeting where the MD literally turned to the sales director and says, what do you actually do?
Ow. Ow.
You know, because he said, why have I never heard any of this before and you head up sales?
Benjamin, I've watched you and you've got a very unique style, which is very counterintuitive. You disarm your prospects and you try and kill the deal. You try and get them to actively not choose. Could you explain that to listeners? Okay, team, this week from a very wet, windy, sort of ball-dropping New Zealand, we're going over to the UK to a lovely bloke by the name of Benjamin Dennehy. He's known as the UK's most hated sales trainer, and he is, man, we're on for a treat for this one because he's entertaining. I'm building him up already, you see, so he's sweating bullets. He's funny, he's very clever, and he's got a lot of banter, and he's bloody good at what he does. Benjamin, good evening and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, and hello to all the farmer chaps out there and the rural salesmen that may be listening to this. Yeah. I hope you're having a great day.
Cool, mate. So tell me, you're a Kiwi, I'm Tom, you're in England, I'm in New Zealand, so we kind of swap, but you know we don't know each other well. You arrived in the UK when? You up sticks from Nelson, South Island, New Zealand, ended up in the UK when? When did you head over there?
December 1999. I wanted to be there for the turn of the millennium. So I was London Bridge, middle of London. I saw more fireworks and more people on that evening than I'd seen in my entire life combined.
You mean Nelson doesn't have like their own massive like London Bridge firework display?
Nah, they have a couple of Roman candles maybe and a few little and that's pretty much it. No, there was nothing. This was half an hour of non-stop fireworks, something I've never experienced to that degree. So it was an amazing experience. And of course, there must have been couple of million people there. I mean, that's more than the South Island still has to this day.
That's right.
So yeah, it's moving from Nelson, Dunedin, where I studied, to the United Kingdom. It's an eye-opener. It certainly was an experience. And it particularly all that time ago, 26 years ago now. 27 years
time
ago.
Flies. So do I call you Benjamin or Ben? Because Benjamin. Benjamin. Okay, so it sounds like we're at school or I'm your mother or your wife where you're in trouble, but you like Benjamin. That's great.
It's one of those names where I think it's one of the few names where everyone asks you, is it the longer or the shorter? I mean, I've never met a Matthew and said, is it Matt or Matthew? But Benjamin is always a Ben or Benjamin.
I think you suit Benjamin.
I suit Benjamin, and I always introduce my name as Benjamin. But it's amazing the number of people that just call you Ben, even though you just said Benjamin.
You should try and have a name like mine. I've been branded since birth. Yes, exactly. Not sure if it's a good way. Now, Benjamin, you studied at mighty Otago down in Dunedin, where my boy is, and he wasn't studying law. I think he's studying up, pissing up. I think that's what he's doing.
I did a lot of that too. That was. They were the days back then before the woke
couch burning. Lots of couch burning.
There was couch burning, the Hyde Street keg party, all of that. We had
Pain, Carisbrook, all those sort of things.
The Carisbrook. You could buy a crate back in those days, a crate of beer at the pub.
Amazing.
The Cook used to be the place to be. Yes. Now it's the car park, I believe.
Yes.
The university bought up all the pubs, tried to kill the life and soul of the place, and they've done a good job. The Bowler's gone. Used to drink at the Bowler. Fat Lady's Arms, the Albert, you name it.
Yeah, it was only a moment ago. Exactly. So you studied law and you were become a barrister, but you.
And then I did the training, the profs course. Yeah, so qualified. Was called to the bar in May '99 in Dunedin High Court. Yeah.
Yeah, and so what happened? I thought you were going to be a barrister, but now you're a sales trainer.
So did I. Life's like, it's one of those things. I wish they did personality testing before you undertake your chosen profession, because This is a true story. Not a lot of people know this. So the prof's a small group of people. About 20 of us did it. And I got into a huge fight with the university over student fees, university fees. I hate
Are you cantankerous by chance?
Cantankerous by nature. And in order to get your, this is a true story, in order to get your student ID card, you had to have proof that you'd paid your student university fees. So you'd get your receipt, you get your ID card. So what I did is I wrote a check for the fees, got the receipt, got my card, then stopped my check.
Ooh.
And then I stuck posters up over the university telling other people to do this, which went down like a cup of cold sick. Anyway,
How to win friends and influence people by Benjamin Dennehy.
Several months into my training to be a barrister, I get contacted by the Dean of Law because the university had made a complaint of fraud against me. And it was quite a big deal. It was like, you might not get admitted to the bar because they've made this allegation. I have to give you a certificate of good character as a Dean of Law, which I can't do with this hanging over you. The Law Society's now got involved.
Wow.
But I was able to prove something because they trained me well. I looked up the rules. And if you didn't attend the university for any lectures or basically anything, then you're exempt from paying the union fee. Now, it was in the rules, and I pointed this fact out. It's simply stated there, and I didn't attend, and so I'm not obligated to pay it. And this was just before the voluntary anyway, but after that it all changed to voluntary. It wasn't compulsory. But it was a big brouhaha. I already found out like the night before my swearing in whether or not I get admitted, because I had to go to the Law Society to make a decision. They ruled that I'd done nothing wrong, but I'd been a little overly enthusiastic perhaps in my opposition.
So will you disclosing that story? I think the listeners are already building a bit of a picture up. What we've seen so far is you're introverted, bit of a shy wallflower, don't like to rock the boat. Accurate?
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Spot on.
Good. Spot on. Good. This is going to be great. Now, Benjamin, how the hell did you start getting into what you do now as a sales trainer? You've got a great following. We're going to offer all the links at the end. But how the hell did you get into this?
Well, sales is one of those things. I went to England. I needed a job. So other than working in pubs, which I did for many, many years, which was a lot of fun, eventually I had to get a real job, a proper job. What do you do if you're educated but you have actually no skills? A law degree is useless unless you practice law. It means you're a good communicator and you're probably reasonably intelligent. Not that intelligent. I've met a lot of solicitors, which I would not put in the category as intelligent. But
it depends what type of intelligence.
That's right. So what do? You're relatively confident. You can string a sentence together, and you don't dribble during interviews. Pretty much the only job on offer is sales, because sales will take anyone. It's where you go when you failed at everything else. This is the place. It's the catch net. It's the welfare system, I guess, of the employment market. So this is where you go when you have no skills. You say, well, I'll try sales. How hard can it be?
I'm just having to mute myself because I'm laughing so much already. Sorry.
It's true, because you think of the salespeople you've met, you think most of them are fucking morons anyway. I mean, they come across as cheesy, salesy. They're often in an ill-fitting suit that they bought from, I don't know.
Can we just riff on this, because I've been doing a bit of research, and you were on Chris Williamson's Modern Wisdom podcast. You were on there, and he's a good dude. You're a good dude. But and then you talked about Grant Cardone and Jordan Belfort and all these guys. When I see these Instagram bros with their very tight short shorts, which are inappropriate, or very tight pants showing certain appendage, that's not you.
I know, to be a sales
I mean this with love and affection. You look like a really cuddly Mario brother. Mario brother.
I know. It's all part of an act, though. This is one of the things I get across to, one of the things I teach. Selling is a West End show played by a psychiatrist. You've got to be an actor and understand human psychology. So everything I do is deliberate and on purpose. Yeah. So I deliberately look like a moron. I know this. When I stand up in front of a room of people to do training, I go, let's get the first thing out of the way. I look like an idiot. I know that. Stupid hat, braces, the hair. I look like an idiot. But do you know why I do this? Does anyone know why? It's incredibly disarming. People don't feel threatened. If you look like a candidate from The Apprentice, you make people feel uncomfortable. Selling is the art of making people feel comfortable, because if they're comfortable, they'll tell you more. The more information I get, the more I'm able to decide whether or not this is someone I can or should work with. So it's all part of a game of psychology. And this whole look is designed for that. UK's most hated. People expect a certain type of personality when I come in, but I'm quite different in a sales meeting from the podcast character.
I'm sure you are.
Because that is designed to get, wow, this guy, he's freaky. I mean, that'd be kind of cool. But then they meet me, oh, you're a lot nicer than I thought. I thought you were going to be really, rah. It's all part of the act, and it's just like a good barrister or a politician.
Well said. Well said, sir. It's like an alter ego almost, like it's performative. Like you're not the Black Mamba that, Kobe Bryant was, but, you've got this alter ego which gets you into performance mode, access, but then when you actually show up for your work shirts and talk to the CEOs and the boards and everything else, you're just Benjamin, right?
Yeah, it's my Dame Edna routine.
Dame Edna, my goodness. Exactly. No, glasses are fine. Now, my friend, let's talk about a couple of things. Well, the first thing I want to talk to you about is, like, as you trained as a barrister, I imagine you have some modicum of intelligence, which means you're articulate. We watch you, and humble too. And, like, I imagine those skills serve you quite well. They're actually a transference skills. They're quite a parallel between that, because you do have to learn how to argue. And I can't suppose I'm going to be a bit boring here and labour it, but, like, it's kind of like that challenger sale kind of modality. You've already said things which are very, very interesting if people listen to it. Psychology, it's a game, disarmament, all those things. But, like, being a barrister, surely there must have been some transference of skills there to sales, because I think they're
you'd think that, but obviously the difference is a courtroom is an adversarial system. It's designed to be adversarial, just like Parliament is adversarial. This is one of the problems salespeople have, is they go into too many sales meetings treating it almost adversarial. That their job is they got to go and convince someone. They got to logically overwhelm them so that they buy in. But the problem is people don't buy logically; they buy emotionally.
Yep.
And so whilst I could make a great intellectual argument, it doesn't mean you can make the best intellectual argument. Someone can go, I get it. I completely understand. I don't care.
Yeah.
And you'll make them fail. If they don't care or have any emotional reason to fix something, they're never going to do it. So what the law taught me is one thing, is everybody lies all of the time, as House would say, in his TV show. But it's true. Someone will lie to a lawyer even though it's privileged and they can't share it with anyone. You're in complete secrecy. They still lie. They lie by omission. They lie by exaggeration or embellishment. They leave things out that they don't think are important. Prospects are the same. They never tell you the truth. So my job as a good salesperson is to get to the truth. Why am I really here? Are you just using me to get a better price? Are you just shopping around? You're intellectually curious, but you've got no desire to buy. Are you using me to go and beat up an existing supplier because you want to prove to them you've got other quotes? Are you simply trying to brain rape me, which is ask me questions to problems that you have, hoping that I'll give you the answers so you don't have to give me any money? So there's like a 20% chance if you get in front of a human being that they're actually going to buy from you, because there are more reasons not to buy from you than there are. I have to navigate all of this whilst trying to make them comfortable and not come across as a prick.
I love this. Do you know, you're the first guest, we're about 120 episodes in, and you're the first guest is use this word adversarial, and I think it's spot on. Like, when you're scrolling Instagram and, well, maybe you don't, maybe you're reading books and encyclopedias, at night time, but, you go down a rabbit hole, and you and I, we're, ferocious readers and researchers, and we've got to be, because we've got to be good at our craft, right? Yeah. And you're going through the Instagram and you're going, these guys are trotting out this shit, like, like, teach them to pray, you go get them, you do this, you do that. Like this, why is sales training so bloody broken?
I don't think sales training, I guess you could say it feeds the markets, because most sales people are idiots. And so they buy into this crap. And most salespeople are looking for a quick fix to a problem. So for instance, I use this example all the time. It took me 4 years of university and then half a year of training to be qualified as a barrister, and then you're just a junior. It takes 7 years of medical school, and then you go in as a junior doctor doing your residency, you're a junior for years. 3 years to become an accountant, then you're a junior. To be qualified as a sales professional takes 3 days product knowledge training, a new suit, a CRM system.
Off you fucking go. Exactly.
There is no studying. There's no research. There's no understanding in it. It's literally hit the phones, volume, talk features, talk benefits. People will buy, numbers. Some people are naturally better with people. And this is what I started realizing. Why were some people better at selling than others? And I started looking and observing and reading up on this, and I realized the ones that were the best were the ones that asked the most questions. They were the ones that didn't care about whether or not they won the sale. They made people feel comfortable. But a lot of people who do this naturally don't know they're doing it. So when you'd ask them, why are you so good? they trot off the usual lie. Oh, it's a numbers game. You just got to be in it to win it. I know my product. I have a winning personality. You know, all the BS that they throw you because they don't know why. And I thought to myself, selling is a lot like the law. Everybody has a role to play. And the purpose of, and I always say that the purpose of a trial is, and it's for the impartial hearing of evidence before an impartial, but whatever, there's some noble cause. And that's our purpose. And everybody's got to act ethically within it. And whatever happens at the end, we may not like the outcome, but it's probably right. Every now and then there's an injustice, but most of the time it's probably right. And selling is the same. My job isn't to go in and win every trial or win every deal. As a lawyer, you're going to have a client where I can't win.
Because they keep lying to me.
Yeah, the facts are, again, this guy's going, it's just how much can we mitigate the damage that's going to happen to this person. So a win in that case would be we get a slightly lower sentence than we had originally anticipated because of the arguments before. So you didn't get the outcome you wanted. Well, maybe you did, but you didn't get the win. So you don't go in trying to get, so I don't go in trying to get a sale every time. My job is to get to the truth. And if I get to the truth and you get over all my hurdles, then there's a good chance you'll buy from me. If you don't, I don't care. But we're so programmed to salespeople that everyone you get in front of should buy. Convince them to buy. That's why we're so derided and hated as sleazy, slimy, cheesy, greedy, selfish, insincere, all of these words that people use to describe salespeople, because they are. Because they're only trying to get your money. And I know that, so the game's on. Walls go up and I lie to you. You take those lies almost as truth and run around like a blue-ass fly doing quotes and proposals that go nowhere. I don't get it. They were so interested.
No, because quotes don't qualify. Conversations do. Now, Benjamin, I've watched you and you've got a very unique style, which is very counterintuitive, very contradictory, almost contrarian. But you disarm your prospects and you try and kill the deal. You try and get them to actively not choose. Could you explain that to the listeners?
Because like I say, there are more reasons for someone not to buy from me than there are. So rather than going for the yes, I'm going for the no's. And I know people, there's a book called Going for No, and it's one of those cliched phrases you could close out there. But this is a problem with salespeople. They never actually do half the things they read. If they started doing it, so I go for no. So I'm up front with people. I say, look, shall I tell you the 3 reasons you're not going to buy from me even if you want to work with me? So I deal with the 3 biggest objections and reasons people typically give me for not buying from me. And do you know what happens? People argue with you why they won't apply now. It's fascinating. But if I hadn't done it, these will then be used later. So I've worked with the biggest FX company in the United Kingdom. It's worth over £1 billion on the stock market. Yeah. And they get in front of CEOs and CFOs of big companies and they do their whole thing, but they'd always lose on 3 grounds, usually. Too expensive, not the right time, and loyalty. Well, we're very loyal to our existing broker.
Yeah.
How do we deal with it? I said, we start dealing with it up front. So they started going into meetings with the CEO. Should we tell you the 3 reasons you're not going to give us your business even if you want to? Number 1. You're going to say you're so loyal to your existing broker or bank that there is nothing that could possibly ever break that relationship. Number 2, it's not a priority. You know you need to be doing this better, but it's just not a priority for you now. Or thirdly, we're expensive. We're going to be more than what you're currently paying. So let me ask you a question. Would any of those be a reason we can't work together, even if you wanted to? All of a sudden, people started saying no. Well, what do you mean no? What about loyalty? This is business. Yes, it is business. So when you use that later down the line to a salesman who's not done this, it's a lie. What about paying more? Well, look, I'm not an idiot. If you're able to demonstrate an ROI that's greater than the investment, then we'd certainly consider it. And priority? Well, it is a priority because I wouldn't be talking to you. So they're able to eliminate simply through doing this. This scares the shit out of salespeople.
Doesn't it right? Doesn't it right? Because that requires a certain bunch of balls and bollocks to do it, and also confidence, because what you're doing is you're pre-framing there and you're disarming, and what you're doing, I think Chris Voss says it, and I like some of his stuff, I don't like some of his stuff, but what he did say, what you're saying is you are literally disinfecting the objections by bathing them in sunlight right up and up front. You're literally nullifying, taking them straight out. I love
We're going to deal with it. If we're going to fight, I'm going to do it now before I've given you anything.
Not right at the end.
An hour figuring out whether or not we need you to get to the end for you to say, look, Benjamin, I love it, but unfortunately, now's not the right time.
Yeah, you're expensive and it's not a priority, and we're loyal to everybody. Let's get this out of the way
first. It's salespeople hate that because they live in what I call hope. They hope it won't come up.
Yeah.
They hope they'll say something that will convince
Hope
them.
isn't a strategy, and nor a happy ears.
No, it's a drug. I call it hopium, and they're addicted to it.
Love it. I love it. Yeah. So that requires a certain
confidence.
Yes. Where does that come from?
From my, again, this goes back to mindset. I had to convince myself, even when it wasn't true. So before every meeting, I'd say I'm financially independent. I don't need the business. You see, the only reason people behave the way they do in the sales, the needy, the beggy, the desperate, the doing this, the doing that, the quotes and proposals, is because they need the deal. They're emotionally attached to the outcome. I got to get this deal. I need this deal. So it's all about them. So they're very selfish and I-centered, which is what most salespeople are. Yeah. So they're not going and doing their job. My job is just like the lawyer. Whether or not we lose this, I don't care, because you're going to go to prison or not. I don't care. I got no dog in this fight. My job is to dispassionately, well, passionately, but emotionlessly argue for you. And if we win, we win. Great. If we lose, we lose. At the end of the day, it's not my problem. And so I see myself as an advocate for my product or service. I go in and I put forward the best case for it, try to find the truth. And if I win the deal, great. If I don't, so what? I got plenty more of these. I don't need the money.
I absolutely love that, guys. I want you to listen to what Benjamin's saying, because what he's talking about is he's talking about the concept of detachment.
Yes.
So what he's done is he's detached himself from the outcome. He's attached himself to his process, his philosophy. And again, you've got to go on YouTube. Watch how he breaks down live calls. It's fascinating how he does it, because what you're listening to here is a guy who's highly credible, but also understands psychology and human behavior. So, I mean, this disarmament, and it's beautiful stuff, Benjamin, but it's so rare. Lots of people just don't have...
Oh, I hate it. The pushback I get, particularly from middle management. So CEOs and MDs, when they meet me, they get it. They suddenly, fuck.
Yeah.
This is good. Yeah. Sales directors, middle management hate it.
Because they feel threatened. Because you're destroying their identity and self-worth amongst their peers. And you're a status threat.
Yeah, and I explain things to them about sales that they've never heard before. And I remember this once in a meeting where the MD literally turned to the sales director and says, "What do you actually do?"
Ow.
You know, because he said, "Why have I never heard any of this before and you head up sales? Why did we not know this? Why do we not do this?" Because most people are never trained in this. Most people never study it. They're simply thrown into it, and you either sink and die, or you float, or you rise. And it's like 20, 60, 20. 20% high achievers, 60% are mediocre average. They go up and down. And then 20% are just abject failure. Yeah. And most people are in the 80%. And the 20%, it's because they think differently, they behave differently, they act differently. If you want to be treated differently, you have to act differently. So if you're constantly getting fobbed off or running into the same problem, change how you're behaving. They don't. It's a numbers game. You just do more. That's all the management. You need to do more of these.
Yeah, you need to drive up more driveways, smile and dial. I want it. There's so much here. I've come across this myself, and I think, well done you. You would do this very well anyway, but with the CEO, the board, C-suite, whatever else is, they go, why have we not come across this philosophy, this process, these frameworks, these books and everything else? And then the sales manager feels incredibly threatened because their source of salary and they're feeding and putting kids into private education, all those posh schools and all that kind of stuff is under threat, because you're going, hey, there's actually a different way. And it's fascinating but I think sales managers need to be open, coachable, willing, and have a sponge-like mind rather than a rock, right?
You'd think that, but the problem is most of us have programming from our childhood which prevents us from doing well. So recently I had a meeting with the CEO of I won't mention the company because people will be able to figure out who he is, but a finance institute. And we were talking about cold calling, and I said, well, he goes, well, I don't do it, but I used to. I go, well, how would you introduce, just let's do a role play with me. You call me, and he does his thing. And I go, why do you introduce yourself?
It's not important.
Yeah, and he goes, well, because
that's about him. That's not about them. No.
Yeah, I said, well, but why do you do it? He goes, because you have to. Why? Where do you? Who taught you to use the phone? My mum and dad. So why are you listening to your mum and dad's advice at 45? So I showed him what I would do with my pattern and look, you're going to hate me. This is a sales course. You don't want to hang up or let me have 30 seconds. And he recalled. He goes, no, you can't. No, you can't do that. I said, no, that's your mum talking.
Yeah.
That's your mum talking.
It's programming.
I said, your problem isn't with me. It's with here.
Your parenting,
it's the beliefs. And I said, unless you can challenge these beliefs, you can't work with me. I said, because that's made you. He goes, yes, I think that's unprofessional. Well, who told you got to be a professional?
That's his mum talking again. You got to talk. You can't interrupt strangers.
Yeah.
Rude
to interrupt. Always get 3 quotes. Answer the man. So they're programmed to answer questions. Programmed to be pleasers. Yeah, and so all of this, they don't realise, impacts their sales behaviour. When somebody says, I need to think it over, their mum says, oh, I like him, because that's what I taught you to do. Think it over. Don't make decisions on the spot.
I love this.
So they've got this programming, and I understand this. And I phoned up my mum and dad and said, look, I love you, but can you stop coming to work with me? Costing me a fortune.
Yeah. I'm losing
I leave them at home now.
Yeah.
I don't take mum to work. And because mum's not with me, I don't have to answer a question. I don't have to introduce myself.
I love that. Can I just say for the listeners, it is okay not to answer a question. When they ask for a price, ask them another question.
Never answer a question unless you know why it was asked.
Let's go on that.
This is the problem. Most salespeople aren't good. So somebody says, does your product come in blue? And you know it comes in blue, and you think, well, obviously they want it in blue. You go, yes. And he goes, I hate blue.
Yeah. So tell me why is colour important? Tell me why is colour important?
That's interesting. Why blue out of interest?
Yeah, love it. Great curiosity. So the thing is, again, Benjamin's giving you permission to basically not do what your mum and dad told you with polite manners is when someone asks you a question. And also you got to remember, I mean, again, prospects aren't a prey. It's not adversarial. It's more like a dance. It's more like a dance, and it's like a game, isn't it? It's like doing the reps and everything else. Like that's where the confidence comes from, right?
It's repetitive. It's also following a process. Most salespeople don't follow a process. They wing it. In fact, it's a badge of honor. They wing it. And the reason they like winging it is it means there's no accountability. Because then if it doesn't go through, they've got 101 excuses as to why.
I didn't prepare for it and I was okay. Yeah, exactly.
Whereas if I'm listening to them, I go, well, why didn't you ask that? When he said that, why didn't you ask this? When he did, I forgot. I can't remember. And it's about how can you forget? This is your fucking job.
I love this. Can I ask? I've got to ask this question. Why do so many reps are reluctant to listen to their own sales calls?
Because they know how awful it sounds, how cringeworthy it is. What they hear is a 10-year-old loser begging someone. That's what most salespeople hear is a 10-year-old loser. And they absolutely hate it. And so they'd rather just keep going through the world blissfully ignorant. And if they win, they win. If they lose, well, it's not really my fault. It's timings. And they also know, this is something I point out to most managing directors and business owners. Salespeople also know that as long as they do just enough to be relevant, you won't sack them. You see, because what you'll do is whenever it comes to poor performance, you look at your salespeople and go, well, it does
It does all right. He's there or thereabouts. And I'm shitting myself because then I have to go through the rigmarole recruiting. There's no one good out there, even though it's a reflection of them as a manager. Yeah.
So it's easier to keep on an average, mediocre, kind of crappy salesperson than go through the habit of finding someone new, probably not train them, and just hope they work out.
Hopium, exactly. In our world, it's like, the last rep was shit. They completely slunged it. They've gone to the opposition. Here's your keys to the truck. Off you go and drive up some driveways. You know, their answer is drive up more drive. That's the onboarding process.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like you set them up to fail. So let's talk about training. Yeah. And we talked about the reluctance or resistance maybe of sales managers who go, actually, this stuff's pretty challenging for my status and my authority because I thought it all sewn up and my salary depends on me knowing this, but I don't know it and all the psychology that goes on there. But with the training, let's talk about, I've got to talk to you about this, cold calling.
Yeah. Yes.
Cold calling. Tell us how you do it. And obviously we're going to send the results because you're a master at it. Like, I don't know, you wouldn't say I'm a master at it, St. John, but like, what is it all about? What is cold calling all about?
Well, this is it. I ask this question of everybody. What is the purpose of a cold call? So you ask that question and you get an array of answers because nobody knows. Then what's the purpose? And people say, well, to get a meeting, to get an appointment. Some will say to find pain.
I think it's to create a connection and see if we can start a relationship.
Create a connection, yeah.
Not so
well, let's flip it. I go, those all sound great, but those are all outcomes. I ask, what is the purpose? What are we trying to do to this particular human being in this particular moment of time? And I go, most people don't know that. I go, it's the same with what's the purpose of a trial? A lawyer wouldn't say to get an acquittal, to get a hung jury, to get a mistrial, to get a conviction. Those are outcomes. Oh, the purpose, it has some noble. So the purpose of a prospecting call is that goes back to how do people buy? People buy emotionally, justify intellectually. So the purpose of a prospecting call is to get that human being to feel a little bit of emotion about whatever it is that I fix. Because before I phone them, they're sitting at their desk, possibly happy as Larry, eating a sandwich. And then I phone up in a space of 6 to 8 minutes. I should be able to move them from feeling intellectually sad to suddenly thinking, well, when you put it like that, yeah, maybe you do have something.
Yeah.
And then it's to go for a meeting, which is a sales meeting. So this is just diagnosing symptoms.
Yeah.
And this is what I teach people. So I teach people a prospecting call should last 6 to 8 minutes. And it's about you gathering information from them. It's not about selling anything. It's not talking about you or what you do.
100%.
It's about figuring out what you fix. And this is the hardest thing. Most salespeople don't know what they fix. You ask them, so what is it you fix? Well, we help. No, not we help. What are people right now bitching and moaning about in their world that you fix and they have no idea you exist? I guarantee they don't use your language.
Yeah.
So what are they moaning about?
So you mean, so what keeps you up at night, and tell me what your biggest pain point is? They don't use that language.
Awful questions.
I know. Terrible questions. So Benjamin, my rural guys and girls that are driving around, they could be in Saskatchewan, they could be in Alberta, Ontario, wherever they are, Iowa, Wisconsin, bloody Gundawindi, bloody Gordonton, Hamilton, wherever they're listening, they're going, well, that's great, but I don't actually do cold calls. I have to drive up farmers' driveways. What would your best advice be for them?
Well, you're doing the old drop-in. Yeah. And I'll be honest, most of this stuff doesn't work with people that work in the rural countryside, because most people in the rural countryside just generally talk in grunts. It's like, yeah.
Or they actually hide behind the silo and the milking shed because they don't want to fucking see it.
And you're also, the problem with selling to, again, this is countryside thing, is that you got to know your prospect, right? These people spend their life trying to get deals.
Yeah, well, they're price takers because they're
everything is usually about price. So you're already heading into a shitstorm here. Yeah. So you've already got a lot of stuff going on. So ultimately, price is important to these people, but price isn't usually the primary driver, because
it's one of them, but it's not the top one.
One of them, yeah. But unfortunately, too many fall down on that track.
Well, the thing is, I always say to my guys, and they say you obviously doing a lot in the finance game and the FX, but I say if you sell like a commodity, you're treated like a commodity. And if you sell the same, you get treated the same, right?
Exactly. So if I was walking out, I don't know, I'll try and say something intelligent, but if I was selling, I don't know, some sort of machine that did something.
Yeah, tractors or something.
I would know what it fixes. And I would say, so look, I've been talking with a lot of farmers locally, and they've been complaining that with the amount of rain that they've had over the last 6 months, what they've noticed is their tractor flippers floppers is no longer doing what it's supposed to do. But I guess you haven't been experiencing that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that because I like what I'm sorry if I put you on the spot, but I knew you'd be up for it. It's like, but I'm assuming you've actually already got that sorted and you're across that. And I love that because it's what we call guys and girls, listen to this. That's what's called a pattern interrupt.
Yeah.
And Benjamin's very, very good at doing this. And they say, watch his YouTube, watch what I love to say, when I was doing research on you, Benjamin, I just watched you did a breakdown of a call with one of your students, and it was absolutely fascinating watching you break down the call. And you must have been like a proud parent listening to him.
Was which one? I don't know.
It was the guy with he's got a green. I should know his name. He's got a beautiful mauve Marks and Spencer sort of V-neck kind of thing. I'm gonna have to desperately find it for you.
Was it Joe Gandy?
I think it could have been, but he was a well-spoken Englishman.
Yes, he was.
Damn good job.
I know.
And I was like, well done you, because he was just ticking all the boxes and he was following a process, but it didn't sound like it was a process.
No,
it felt natural and normal, which is what all conversations is.
This is it, and this is why I say it's acting. So what's the difference between a good actor and a great actor? They both have to learn lines,
but it doesn't feel like they're acting.
Delivers it in a way that makes it look natural and real. And too many salespeople, you can hear them reading it, even if they don't have a script, you can hear them reading it in their head.
They sound scripted, exactly.
And they sound scripted, so you have to master the art of being very natural, very relaxed with this. I would repeat the stuff over and over again out loud, so it became conversational. And then I deliberately struggle. I deliberately get things wrong. I chuck in all these little human cues. I scratch my head a lot. I look, I go, so what are you doing wrong?
Reaching for words, and it's what we call blemish framing. That's the wanky phrase for it.
That's the phrase.
You drop your pen and like, oh, sorry, I stumbled here and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
So if you sound, you'll love this one because you're giving us so much here. There's this bloke, I can't remember his name because it's too hard to pronounce, because it's a great ability to conceal one's ability.
Yes. And that's what I do. So I do the pen thing. I never take a pen to a sales meeting.
No. Oh, you don't take any notes?
Yeah, no, and then I ask, is it all right if I take notes? And they say yes. And I open up my binder and I start looking for the pen, but I don't say anything. And then I'll go to the jacket in the back of my chair because I wear a jacket and I start to look for one. Every single time the managing director looks at you and at some point they break and I go, would you like to borrow my pen?
Would you want my pen? Oh, they didn't sell me this pen though, did they?
No, could you want it? You said, I don't need to sell it. So
so good.
Now, these guys normally have nice pens too, because then I give them a stroke. I go, that's a nice pen, stroke. So this is a nice pen. Yeah. Are you sure? And I go, are you sure? So I said, no.
I'll keep this, thank you very much. Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm deliberately struggling. I'm getting them to help me. As they help me, internally their mum gives them a stroke and says, aren't you a nice guy helping out that poor salesman?
Yeah, exactly.
So this is all a psychological game of taking control.
It is a game. It is a game. I want to remind everyone again, we take it too seriously. It is a sport. Like, we're not an ED doctor here where people are going to die. Yes, livelihoods, but not lives. Have some fun. I mean, what I like about you is there's some self-deprecation, there's some humility, there's some humour, some banter. You're a human being talking to another human being.
Yes.
They're not a robot. They're not a resource unit. They're not a dollar sign floating above their head. You know, I've heard you talk to people. I love your openness on your cold calling. You just say it straight. You know, you're going to bloody hate me. This is a cold call. But it's a very well-researched one. If you've got 30 seconds, tell me, or you can totally hang up. Now, that's my translation, but it's so good because it's so disarming. It is
disarming.
Yeah.
Now, and again, I point out, everyone's got different personalities, so it doesn't work on everyone. I point out that the reason this one works so well is if you're phoning at senior director level, because these are people who are used to getting their way. So when you tell them, do you want to hang up? They're reactive. It's no, don't fucking tell me what to do.
Yeah, it's called reactance theory. They don't
so
like me.
I deliberately poke the bear knowing that they're more likely to say no. Now, you do this on someone, you go to phone someone up in the accounts department. You do that to an accountant or a lawyer, they'll say, I'll hang up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
I love it. It's so clever, this psychology. Tell me about voicemail, because most of my guys and girls shit themselves leaving voicemail. I think there's some great tips. Can you share them? Because I know you're very good.
I'll give you the best one. This is it. This is. So I'll do it as if I was phoning someone. This is what I do. So if you're on a mobile phone or a cell phone, as you say, you've got to be careful you do this right, because sometimes when you hit a button, it doesn't work. But if you've got the old landline or you've got something with a receiver, it's a lot easier. This is what I do. So the phone would ring and I get the message. It's Barry, blah. I go, Barry, it's Benjamin. My number's 07416 8832. Look, the reason I'm calling is I was speaking with a colleague and they suggested that, and then I just hang up midway through the sentence.
What a passive interrupt. It's not closing the loop. They can't close.
No, it just hangs up. Now, you hear this and you've got two choices. Either this is important or it's not. I don't know. So what do I have to phone you. And so when they phone you, I now know one thing. They're completely free. So the usual excuse is I'm busy, I'm going into it. Doesn't apply because you only phone somebody when you're not. Exactly. So now they phone me. Now, as soon as they phone me, I then sound and act like an angry CEO to be like them. I go, hello? And I go, is that Benjamin? I go, speaking. I go, who's that? And they go, it's Richard at ABC. I go, oh, yes. I'll go, oh, look, you are going to hate me. That was actually a cold call, but I got your voicemail. Yeah, well, it cut off. Well, look, do you want to hang up or let me have 30 seconds? Well, I've called you. No, I'm free now. Let's have a... They never hang up. You can't hang up on someone you've called either. There's psychological
so good. Now, I know we're squeezing you a bit here, but I know you're going to get a lot of people who are going to sort of climb into your stuff. Tell me about when they ghost you, you know, the ghosting. Now, there's a lot of reasons why. First of all, let's ask the question. Let's help people out here. In your professional opinion, I've got mine, but you're my guest and I'm more interested in you than me. Why do you think most people ghost salespeople? What's gone on in the conversation? What was missing? What factors were missing?
Well, one is they never agreed what would happen next. And the problem is people get this wrong because they say, well, we agreed to send them a proposal. No, that's you doing something for them. That's not a next step because you're not in control now.
They
You've handed over
They didn't make a commitment.
You haven't made a commitment, so that doesn't work. So ghosting usually happens because you failed in your job of getting them to believe that you could help them or that they need you. So that's the primary reason. I didn't believe it. Or You failed to realize they were never going to buy from you. They were just using you for your quote or proposal because they needed that for some other purpose.
Which I just want to interject, is very important. When you heard Benjamin at the start of this conversation, he's getting the objections right on the table.
Yeah.
Please keep going.
And the other issues is I deal with this. So I make it clear to people that at the end of I make it up front. Again, it's all dealt with at the beginning. I tell them at the end of this meeting, I ask them, if by the end of this meeting you don't think I can help you or you don't think I'm right, can you tell me no today? Now, there's only one person who always can't give you an answer to that question. That's a non-decision maker, which instantly means I fucked up, because how am I talking to a non-decision maker?
Yeah.
So now I know I've already screwed up. How did I get here? So if you're talking at director level, most will say, well, yeah, of course I can give you a no. I'll tell you, fuck off if I want. Great. And then likewise, if I don't think I can help you or work with you, or I don't think what I do matches your expectations, would you be upset if I told you no? And they always, this is, you get a quizzical look. No, I'd rather no today. Yeah. I go, great. Now look, by the end of the meeting, if neither of us say no to each other, we have to agree a next step on how to move forward. Does that sound fair?
I love
now,
the fair word. One of my favorite words.
Most people say yes, depending on what it is. I go, yeah, assuming you're happy with it, can we move forward? Yeah. So now we've defined no, not yes. So when I get to the end of the meeting, and I've done my bit, and I always finish with the same question. So what do you want to do?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Yeah. And they'll either say, well, you mentioned the next step. So or they'll say, or I've had, before I've even got to say, what do you want to do? I've had somebody say, Benjamin, can I ask you a question? Is it a no from you?
Oh, I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I go, what do you, now I always act like I don't know I go, what do you mean is it a no from me? Well, do you want to work with us? Now, even if I want to, I lie here. I struggle. So you don't want to look desperate.
This is a hard one.
My gut's saying yes, but I just need to ask some more questions.
Yeah,
I'm still in control.
Exactly.
I'm not giving it, because as soon as they hear something, then they can relax. I don't want them relaxing. I'm not, yes.
You want to create the tension. Exactly.
And then I'll keep it going until I'm ready. And then, so when we get to the end of the meeting, I'm leaving with a no. Now, some people say, can I think it over? I go, yes, fine. Just say no, though. Can I ask you a question, sir? You're a businessman, so am I. 99% of the time, what does think it over mean?
It means I'm really not ready, and I'm not going to go ahead, because otherwise we're having a conversation now.
I go, look, if you don't give me a no today, what do you think is going to happen? Think of your previous experience with salespeople. What happens? You're going to keep phoning me. Exactly. Do you want me phoning you up every day for the next week, trying to find out if your thinking over was really the no that we always knew it was?
Would you like me to really pest you? No, exactly.
Yeah. And they say, no, you're right. So some people are adamant. I get these, some people, no, Benjamin, look, it's not a no. It's definitely not a no. I just want to blah, 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 blah. Okay,
I go through about 50 lines of sign-off, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Let's agree this then. When can I hear back from him? I'll get back to you by next Wednesday. I go, what time? They go, so by 4 o'clock. I go, fine, let's agree this. If I don't hear from you by 4 o'clock Friday, I will phone you. And I'll either get you a voice message and I'll leave you a message, in which case you have to call me back. If you don't, I'll assume it's a no. If you don't call me back, I'll assume it's a no. If I get to speak with you, you give me an answer. How does that sound? They go, it's fine, Benjamin, but I promise you will. Do you know, I believe in the moment when they say this, they mean it.
You believe them, don't you?
In the moment, they do mean it.
That happens.
But the reality is you have no duty or obligation to a salesperson. So as soon as you hang up and get on with your life, you don't hit the phone 4 o'clock Wednesday, go, fuck, I've got to phone that sales guy and tell him no. You just think, he'll get it.
He'll get it.
So I make it a condition. If I don't hear from you by 4, I will assume it's a no and move on, unless you tell me to call you. And if you say call me, then I say, how many times should I call you if I don't hear back? Oh, just the once. Okay, fine. So because this is for you. You as a salesperson need to know when to walk away.
Very important.
Yeah? And the reason why salespeople are reluctant to do this is because once in their stinking rotten career, somebody that said I need to think it over came back and bought. So they've held on to that one experience and they apply it to every other. No, it's the exception. And they spend most of their time chasing prospects that don't want to buy from them. But it's not so scary. They're no longer strangers, so they can phone them, they can talk. We have a relationship, we have a connection, all the shit that they tell themselves. Imagine if you'd gone on a date with a girl and she said, I'll call you next week, and you did this. You'd be in prison.
You've got to stop making me laugh. You're making the listeners laugh. Now, this is really important. You said before you phone a call, because you're not going to be that needy, desperate, pestering, fast hand rubbing used car salesman, all the stuff that you and I both know as practitioners. There's a lot here. Listeners will say that's great because Benjamin's got that kind of personality, but I'm not. I'm a smart farm boy or girl, and I was told this, and I've got this conditional, socialization conditioning from my parents, the rest of it. Why I think salespeople are so scared of a no is I don't think they've got enough prospects. I don't think they've got enough options. No. And so when I asked where confidence comes from, you said, well, I'm financially independent. I don't need this deal. But what happens if you're not financially dependent? Some listeners might say, well, I'm not actually financially dependent at the moment. How do they get to that level of confidence?
Do what you've been doing with the rest of your career. Lie to yourself.
It's such good advice.
Just lie to yourself. You just say it. Just say I'm financially independent. I don't need the business. And you focus on what you need to do, not the outcome. So I use this all the time. You're a surgeon, right? Yep. You're about to operate on a guy and there are 62 different set moves in this operation. Yep. On cut one, what are they thinking about?
I think they're not thinking about, oh, let's get out of here. I want to have a cup of tea and have a dinner.
No, they're not thinking about, I hope this guy doesn't die on me.
No, they're not.
They're not thinking, what they're thinking about cut one. And then on cut two, they're thinking of cut two. Just like a golfer is thinking about hole one on hole one, hole two. He's not thinking about hole 18. Yeah. So a good salesperson doesn't focus on the outcome, getting the deal, getting it over the line. They focus on the individual steps that will lead to the conclusion that they're hoping to get. And if they do each individual step right, whatever happens at the end, even if they don't like it, is probably the correct outcome.
I absolutely love this. Now, as a Kiwi, you remember this. Rob Waddell, New Zealand was a bit of a sad sack on the 2000 Olympics when you were in the UK. And Rob Waddell was the only one that won a gold medal in Sydney. And what he said, I focus on the oar stroke, not the podium. I focus on the process, not the podium. I stay in the boat. It's exactly what you're saying, isn't it?
It's the art of being present and focusing on what matters. What matters, it's like when you're trying to climb a hill. You know, it's not get to the top, it's the next step. Just give them steps to do the next step and the next step and the next. So salespeople don't do that. They just, my sole goal is go in there and get the deal, get this over the line. No, your sales manager will be saying, I want you to go in and do a really good omega step. That's where you close at the beginning. Then I want you to do a good objection handling step. And when we come back, I'm going to ask you, did you do these things? And if you say yes and we lost, let's figure out where we lost it. It wasn't because you didn't do the behavior. So we can figure. But if you've done none of that, I don't know why we lost. I don't know why we won. And this is it. It's why you won that's more important than why you lost. Because if you won a deal, don't you want to know how to repeat what you did to do that again?
Because it was a process, just like the surgeon.
Yeah. Most salespeople are just dumb luck. Most salespeople are overpaid order takers. It's the brand or the product that's done half the work. In fact, most salespeople talk themselves out of deals than into them.
Oh, there's certain brands of tractors which we won't talk about in which colours that really very much sell themselves based on their brand equity.
Well, remember that 80s advert? No one got fired for hiring IBM. And that's it. You don't have IBM salesmen. They already know what they're going to do. It's just a matter of negotiating the price.
So tell us about the confidence thing. Comes from, obviously, if you're not financially dependent, lie to yourself until you become that person. Because if you're actually good at sales, you will make good money. This prospecting thing, it's so important. You have pipeline, isn't it?
It is important. But the problem they have isn't confidence. I've never met an unconfident salesperson. I ask this of every CEO because that's one of the first things they say is I feel my guys just need a little more confidence. I go, okay, so if all of us right now, if I went out and grabbed them as a group and we went to the pub, how many of those would struggle to strike up a conversation with a stranger at the bar?
Zero.
None of them. I go, exactly, they don't have a confidence problem. Most have a belief problem. It's a belief of what you're allowed to do and how you're to behave. I don't believe you're allowed to interrupt people. So therefore you find cold calling hard.
Yeah.
I don't believe you're not allowed to answer a question. So I answer questions because I've been programmed since birth that I have to give an answer to a question. So it's a belief structure. It's not confidence. And so until you challenge the beliefs and change the belief, it doesn't matter. So the only way to change belief is by doing the behavior. And that means you've got to do stuff that you don't believe in. But as you do more of the behavior and it works, the belief says,
You can be that person.
I can be. So this is the hard bit. It's cold turkey. You've got to wean yourself off of the hopium way of selling. So your sales, when you work with me, first of all, they dip because you're trying something new and you suck at it.
Yeah.
But you've got to push through that barrier.
That curve and go up. It's an S curve.
And go up. And so I end every sales training session with every company or every group. The last question is this. Can you give me a reason why, intellectually, this wouldn't work in your world if you could do it competently? Not yet met any sales team or company in any industry that said it wouldn't work. Yeah. So if this doesn't work, it's because you either can't do it, won't do it, or give up.
Yeah, I agree. So there's what we talk about, skill versus will, but that's a story for another day, because if their lives depended on it and they can do it, it's not a question of capability, it's a question of motivation.
Yeah. It's like there are no bad diets.
No.
You know, someone says, does the diet work? Are you going to follow it? Yes. Then it will work. That's it.
You just got to do the work. You just got to do the work.
Most salespeople don't, because
they don't. They're lazy and they will shortcut and they will bullshit themselves and make up excuses and point the fingers everywhere else.
And this is the killer reason. Remember, 85 to 90% of people in sales don't actually want to be there.
No,
they're there because they had nowhere else to go. So if you're doing something that you deep down, you weren't driven or passionate to do, why would you spend a lot of time trying to get good at it? You know, how many times have you met a doctor or a surgeon and said, how'd you become a doctor? Oh, I fell into it. You don't fall into
it's their craft. It's their
passion.
It's exactly. Yeah. And they sacrifice to it. They commit to it. They're disciplined.
Yes. But most salespeople, as I say, don't want to be there. They're still buying their lottery tickets. And as soon as they win, they're going to walk into the office. They're going to grab their sales director by the cheesy yellow tie and tell them to take a long, hard suck on their ass.
So this is why when you see with real estate or lifestyle agents, machinery guys, whatever it is that you sell, there's only like the 5% make all the sales. It's not 80-20 anymore. For me, I haven't got the empirical evidence, but it's usually the top 5%. Like, you know, they make all the cream. They make all the money and everyone else gets the breadcrumbs, right? For that reason.
Yeah. Yeah, and then some will say, well, it's because they got all the relationships.
No,
there is an element of that.
Because they did the work.
But they did the work. And secondly, after a while, they're not even selling, they're taking orders.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this is the other thing about being in sales. If the company you work for does exactly what it says on the tin, why do people go elsewhere? And that's the whole point of being good at sales, is eventually you just take orders. That's the irony of it.
Mm. Or if your product's good. Now, what are the best things, sir, you look for when you're vetting candidates? I don't know if you do. I know you don't recruit them, but maybe some of your clients like me, you say, I will help you vet your sales manager or your rep. But let's talk about reps first of all, for sales managers or owners that are listening to this. What are the key characteristics, traits, or attributes you are looking for in testing when you're vetting sales candidates?
Okay, so number one, don't read any CVs. They're all bullshit. Yeah, they're all works of fiction. Don't read them. In fact, don't even ask for them. The first thing you want to do if you've got a sales job is just put in the advert, here's a phone number, call it and leave a message. It'll make me want to call you back. First of all, fuck all will phone. So you're eliminating. See, if you ask for a CV, you'll get hundreds of CVs. If you ask someone to call you, fuck all. So you're eliminating all the bullshit instantly.
So good.
And then the second thing is you're listening to the message.
Recruitment agencies are going to hate you for that, Benjamin, but I know you don't mind being hated. So, like me, we repel the wrong customers, attract the right ones.
Fucking bullshit. Repel the salespeople by making them pick up the phone. First of all, then you listen to the message, and there are two types of message. You get the long-winded, garbled one. Tell him to fuck off. He's not getting through. See, anyone that talks too much instantly, you know is fucking useless. Got a gabbler. Oh, hi, my name's Benjamin. I've been doing sales for 13 years. I read your ad. It looks really interesting.
Doesn't even take a breath. Doesn't even take a breath. Yeah.
Instantly disqualified.
The favourite one is, have you got any questions for me? Oh, none. How much I get paid? No, go away. F off. Go away. Exactly.
Yeah. I'm listening for the person that leaves a very short but brief message. Benjamin, I saw the advert about the job role for XYZ. I think I'm qualified. Can we speak? Like it. Short, sharp, to the point. This means I don't have someone that feels the need to overfill.
Yeah.
This is a good quality, right? And then the next conversation is a phone call. Again, I want to hear what they're like on the phone. Then I want them to make prospecting calls in front of me because I want to hear how they go about it. So it's all about listening to them, because this. Every salesperson will say they don't like making sales calls until you ask them to make one.
I love it. So what you're doing, because I set a live brief in my world. But what you're doing is you're saying, I want you to make a live sales call in front of me.
Yeah, I want to hear you because that's pressure.
I want to try before I buy.
I'm hiring the under pressure person. So I want to see what you're like under pressure. How do you handle it? You got me watching and listening. How are you going to handle that? Now, you say you do this every day. This should be water. It's like asking a surgeon, a cataract surgeon who's moved hospital, can we watch you do surgery? And he's going, oh, no, not really.
No, don't. I haven't got my gear. Yeah.
Of course you can. I do it every day. Salespeople are the only people that need weeks to get their feet under the table. I've never met a surgeon just can't operate here until I got a good feel for the hospital.
I love that. And then what are the other things you're looking for in that conversation when you're interviewing, you're vetting them? That, they're obviously not talking much. They're
start to finishes. So you want to look at people that start things and finish things. So you ask them about, do you have any projects at home that you're working on, anything you're doing? Well, I started working on a garden shed. Where'd you start that? Oh, about 6 months ago. Have you finished it? Not yet. That's usually not very good. Someone that doesn't start and finish things.
Yeah, so not disciplined, doesn't follow through. Yeah.
I would also habits and beliefs.
What's some of your favorite questions on those?
What are your rights as a salesman?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, who should be in control and why?
We should.
Yeah, well, they all say that, but you go, why?
Because we want to control the conversation where we need it to go, and we're not going to play desperate needy because it's a sales interview, not a sales meeting.
Yeah, okay. And I go, try again. What else could it be? What's the bigger reason, though? Why should we be in control? Prospect versus salesperson. Why should we?
Because we've got something of value, and actually they should be choosing us as much as they're choosing them.
Well, because at the end of the day, we're not the one with the fucking problem, are we?
You're quite right. You're so right.
I don't have a problem. You need sales training. Fine. I got a warehouse full of sales training. It's not my problem.
Yeah.
Now, you get to choose which one you buy, but you still have the problem. So this is why I'm always in control, because I don't have a problem here, mate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, the only thing is you do have a problem if you haven't got enough prospects in your pipeline, because the guys that listen to this, who the rural guys, a bit more staunch, a bit quieter, maybe a bit more introverted, shy, haven't got that exuberant personality that you have that obviously fits this kind of style, is that you have to prospect, you have to have lots of pipeline, because that is your insurance policy. Because otherwise you're going to be needy, desperate, overly invest in the sale, get needy, get desperate, and you're just going to be a pain. You're going to be a pest.
You are, and you'll end up discounting. And discounting isn't selling. Anyone can discount.
Oh, I can sell you $1 for 80 cents, easy peasy. Easy peasy. So what just as we finish it up, like if you're talking to a sales manager or a sales owner, a business owner, and you could only teach them one thing that they could teach their teams, what would it be and why?
Oh, there's so much. I'll give a piece of advice that would help the management and the salespeople.
Please, sir.
Measure what matters.
100%.
So the problem with most sales teams and companies is they measure metrics that look good in spreadsheets. So they measure dials, they measure talk time, they measure meeting set, they measure proposal set. All of this looks good, but it tells you nothing about the productivity or the ability of your salespeople. So I was working with a company and they measured their guys on talk time. I said, what does that mean? He goes, they need to be on the phone for 180 minutes a day. I go, look, I'm no psychiatrist.
That's a bullshit metric. Yep.
Yes, but what sort of behavior does that encourage? Long, drawn-out, pointless conversations.
With prospects aren't going to buy anyway.
Yeah, so you're not actually creating a better sales environment. You're creating a stupider sales. So measure what matters. What matters is conversations with decision makers. So I work it out. So I use a metric. I say 1 in 10. I know that every 10 decision makers I talk to, I'll get one meeting. Just use that metric. Come up with your own based on the data, but let's go for 1 for 10.
I agree.
So I know if my target is 10 meetings a month, I need to speak to 100 people. Therefore, 100 people over a month is what? That's 25 a week. That means 5 a day. That's the KPI. You must talk to 5 decision makers every day. If you don't, you have to tell me why. And I don't care if that takes 50 dials. I don't care if it takes 100. Doesn't matter how many dials you make. You must have 5 conversations at decision maker level. If you, by the end of the week, haven't got a meeting, having had 25 conversations, this tells me 2 things. Either what you're saying doesn't resonate or how you're saying it doesn't resonate. It's certainly not the lack of actual behavior because you've done the behavior. So it doesn't take a month to figure out you're going to suck. We can figure out in a week that you're underperforming. We then listen to your calls and we figure out, you sound like a knob. That's why.
It's so true because it's a game of cricket. It's a run rate, and if you fall behind, it just culminates, and you've got to really
Doesn't matter how many balls you've swinged at. Who cares?
Doesn't matter how many runs did you make.
Yeah.
And I think you use the metric here. Sorry, but something useful for the listeners here is my metric is you're going to get about 1 in 10 appointments, and you need about 3 appointments to make one sale. So I go 1 in 3 is roughly mine. Once you've actually, this is on a bunch of criteria, including the fact you've got the right economic decision maker in the room. You understand buying process, buy committee, urgency, pain, business case, all those kind of things. What would you agree with that? Or
So you got to know again. So you have to know your numbers. So again, this is what catches people out because they ask me what's your close rate like, and it's pretty good. It's about 6 in 10. And I go, is that from sales cycle started?
Yeah.
No,
6 in 10, very high, very high.
People never count the sales that don't make it all the way to final meeting. They drop out. But didn't you spend time, ergo money, on these deals? So what happened to the deals that only got to the second meeting?
Oh, no, we don't count those because we don't put them in the CRM.
Oh, you mean close rate at final meeting. Oh, right. Yeah, but how many does it take you to get to final?
They're manipulating the metrics. I see this. People say,
manipulate that, so your close rate's terrible.
I know.
This is called the hidden cost of sale because you ignore all the shit that goes nowhere.
Yeah.
That's non-productive behavior.
This is why owners and managers, this is why your reps won't put in every single deal, because they are trying to self-present and basically distort the truth. Because also, Benjamin's reminding you, as I am, you've got to listen to your reps' calls. That's like watching a game of footy or rugby or cricket and not watching the bloody tapes. Like, you don't know what their behaviour, the quality of their questions, are they interrupting too much? Have they made them safe? Have they made them comfortable, at ease? All the things that you've spoken about. They're just flying blind. And it's all these kind of like lagging indicators you're talking about here. Those are they're like vanity metrics. The sanity metrics you were talking about, right?
Yeah, and that's what vanity is what they want because you can talk about that in meetings and
good luck pushing that up to board.
Make 42 sales with an average
great.
of 800, and it's all bullshit. It's like when someone designs a mortgage application. It's all just shit to make it. Design a business plan. What the fuck? That's all projected nonsense.
So true. My friend, you have been absolutely gorgeous. You've been very generous.
You're welcome.
Benjamin, where do people binge on your stuff? Because I suggest they do that.
So YouTube, obviously. So just put in UK's most hated sales trainer. It's not hard to find. You can buy my courses online. You simply go to salesmatrixcourses.com. And I tell you what, it won't happen because rural country will never hire me. But I'm going to be in New Zealand over December and January. On holiday, but if I can always make a bit of money while I'm holidaying, if you want to do something in person, hit me up and maybe we can figure something out.
Yeah, I reckon this guy particularly, and Benjamin, I don't want to compartmentalize you because this would do you a huge disservice. The cold calling, the prospecting thing, this guy's an absolute bloody genius at it, and I take my hat off if I had one.
Oh, thank you.
What a pleasure. Benjamin, thank you for doing all the great work you do, and thank you for being so refreshing. And so,
no worries.
We've absolutely loved it. I've loved this conversation. You bent me over double laughing as well. You make it so much fun, and it should be. Sales should be fun, right?
It should. Well, like I said, the hardest thing for me now in a sales meeting is trying not to laugh because I know what's going on, and that's when you know you're doing well.
Yeah, good guys. Please make sure you follow this guy. We'll put all his goodies in the show. Benjamin, you go well, sir. Sleep well. Look after yourselves, and we might catch you in New Zealand.
Absolutely. See you soon.
Hey you, hope you enjoyed this episode and you learned lots from it. It takes a wee bit of work to get these wonderful, amazing guests who are leaders in their own field on our tiny little show who share their knowledge with you freely and generously. So it makes a lot of sense for me to ask you a tiny favour in return, which is to rate, subscribe or share the podcast or grow this YouTube channel with your family, your friends or colleagues or anyone in your network that you think will benefit from listening or subscribing to it. The reason for my request is really simple. I'm on an absolute mission to elevate and improve the world's perception and therefore performance of rural sales reps and rural managers like yourself, which in turn helps every rural business owner or leader on the planet. I do that by doing my very best to share the most effective sales and marketing strategies with world-class leaders and thinkers so you can get the leads, respect and sales results you deserve. But I can only do that when you help me get this channel and our podcast out to a bigger, wider audience. And the bigger the audience, the better our guests are going to be. So if you can help us with that would be brilliant. Now, as you know, unlike other podcasts, we don't include any of those annoying ads that interrupt your listening experience. but I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't make sure that you grab a free copy of my How to Succeed in Rural Sales ebook, which would normally cost you $20 on Amazon. You get that for free as a subscriber or a podcast listener. Or you can find out more about our rural sales team training or rural sales manager training programs. You can do all of this at our resources page, which is below the video here, which is www.ruralsalessuccess.com, where you can click on and download copies of my other books here. I have another book out last year based on Ryan Halliday's brilliant book, The Daily Stoic, and it's called 365 Rules to Master Rural Sales Success. So mastering yourself, mastering rural sales, and mastering rural sales management is kind of a 3-in-1. So make sure you get that as well. And also in the notes below here, you have an access to my free new AI training tool called FieldCoach IO, which can talk to you and train you 24/7, anywhere, anytime zone, no lag, no waiting, get answers that you need right there and then for the deals that you're working on. It's got all my IP inside its knowledge base, which is extensive, 13 years of IP that you're never going to access from the likes of Chat or Claude or Gemini or Grok. And you can instantly get access at a touch of a button with no waiting. You can, it will coach you or train you on your specific live sales scenario you're facing, whether it's pricing or timing objections, existing supplier, higher authority, farmers that have ghosted you on quotes, the specific questions you need to ask to make those conversations count. It will even analyze your sales calls for you to put you right where you might be going wrong, as well as map out your territories. It syncs to Google Maps and Google My Maps, and process your export leads from CRM to prioritize which leads you need to follow up with the highly hyper-specific, customized, relevant follow-up you need to get those deals, those dead deals revived in your CRM. So whatever you need, it's going to give you immediate specific answers, and you don't need to suffer or struggle whilst you wait for answers even from me. So immediate instant coaching right there and then, just when you need it. It will even talk to you in your truck as you're about in your territory, which is awesome, as long as you've got great internet coverage. So our members in FieldCoach are absolutely loving what it's doing for me. So many more use cases I could bore you with sentences here, and my development team and me are adding new tools to it all the time. So you can take FieldCoach for a spin, a 15-day test drive, and try it out, see it out for yourself for just $1. The link to FieldCoach is in the notes below as well. So I personally want to thank you, my friend, my dear listener and subscriber, for sharing the show with others. Really, really appreciate that, because we can make a difference. It's hard, rural sales is hard enough. Thank you for investing your time with me and my guests, because I know you're super busy. It's very busy and noisy out there. You've got many choices and options where you choose to spend and invest your very valuable, precious time. So hope it's been time well spent for you, and you've learned something from us and our guests, and it's helping you become a better rep or manager, or you as a human being. Appreciate it and appreciate you.